I wanted to do a video about what has led me to this place where I'm not as afraid of having cancer or having a cancer that's really aggressive and doesn't have a good prognosis for life. So, about my first cancer scare was when I was not saved, and it was probably about the last year before I got saved, and it really spiraled me down out of control. Made me extremely self-destructive, as though I weren't already self-destructive. It scared me beyond fear I could handle at all. Things that we go through like that without the Lord are so much more terrifying. There's no hope at all. And so that's the condition I was in. I was utterly hopeless, and I just took my living for myself and sin to the next extreme level. It was already extreme, and I took it to the next level. I started doing drugs I'd never done before in my life, that I had always resisted and held kind of like a standard for myself, and all my standards just went out the window. And I just started, literally, if you look back on it, the only thing you can say is, you are obviously trying to kill yourself. And I guess I was trying to kill myself instead of accepting that cancer could kill me. So that was my first one. And that was, like I said, about a year before I got saved. Now, I got saved when I was 38. So nothing came of that first cancer scare. So Callie and I were best friends at that time, and he was a part of my just devolving into the abyss of that scare, which it didn't. I think it had a little bit of a scary effect for him as well. But just in that, when you're friends and you have a dear friend that you love, you don't want them to die. So, my next one wouldn't be until after he and I were married. And we had already seen him be healed miraculously, from liver failure. Absolutely the hand of God on him. There's not any other possible explanation. So we'd already seen that. I had developed some lumps right here in my chest wall, and what had actually happened was Callie and I were horseplaying, and I got hurt, and it developed into lumps. They wouldn't go away. They stayed for months, and they stayed really tender and stuff. So I went to the doctor, and I didn't think that it was cancer, but I was really scared. And I went to the doctor, and I was like, hey, so what do you think about these? I have these little weird lumps. And the doctor felt them, and she was 100% diagnosed me there in the office. She was like, that is cancer. It's not only cancer, it's a very terrible kind of cancer. It's called this and that, something or other. I don't remember what the name of it was. She was like, it's a very bad sign that it's where it's at. She literally told me in that visit that I need to get my affairs in order. Scared the daylights out of me. All of these things are not what I expected in this visit. at all. So we live in an area with very poor medical care. If that's not like obvious from my other videos and testimonies of medical things that have happened, and just people that know me personally of the terrible things that have happened, like with my grandchildren and my children and just loved ones in general. So that being said, we live in an area with poor medical care. So yes, she made me an appointment for an MRI. I went and had the MRI. a mammogram. Went and had the mammogram, and didn't get results for a couple of days. And Callie and I were like, forget it. We made an appointment for MD Anderson in Houston, and they got us in really quickly, and we went and spent the night with my friends who had just come to visit us at church, my oldest friends. And she had just survived cancer herself. And so she was a huge comfort to me in going to visit her. And she was just really calm and just really positive. And at the time, I was scared out of my mind. I'd been crying and crying. I was so fearful, and I was ashamed because I knew that in the Lord, I did not have a right to be that afraid or cling to my own life that desperately. And internally, like dealing with the Lord, I was very ashamed. Because cowards don't enter the kingdom of heaven. And we each know what we are if we like evaluate ourselves honestly. And I was being the utter definition of a coward and having absolutely no hope or trust in God. Like, I wasn't trusting him. I didn't have hope in him. I didn't even have like a proper diagnosis with images. And I'd already like ready to go jump overboard. You know what I mean? And I could see my differences between the desperate, like being lost and having the diagnosis. And I wasn't that far, but I knew I wasn't where I need to be. And it was on the way to that appointment at MD Anderson. I was listening to, for the first time, the Elizabeth Elliot series, Suffering is Not for Nothing. And that helped like adjust my mindset. I was still really scared, but it helped me like get looking at least at where I need to be looking. And so if anyone is suffering, or even if you're not suffering, in preparation, I highly recommend, man or woman, go listen to that Elizabeth Elliot series, because man, it really can help like align your heart and your thoughts towards the Lord and what he's doing. So we go to this visit. By the way, I have extreme medical anxiety. Anything to do with anything medical, even a blood test, just a normal doctor's office visit, the level of anxiety, I will cry sitting in the doctor's office, even if I'm just getting like my blood pressure medicine refilled. I know other people suffer from medical anxiety, and those people will understand, but for people who don't, and it's normal to go to the doctor's office and not the most terrifying experience you've ever had, then I don't know if I can explain like what the medical anxiety is like. But I am so afraid of the medical community. And so this, on a whole nother level, the Lord walking me through this time, anyone that knew how scared I get would like just see how miraculous it is that I'm walking into these visits. Sometimes I've had to do them alone, not because Callie doesn't want to be with me, but because he's been prevented by the medical community, which is the most cruel thing you could possibly do to people. But that's a whole nother, we all already know that. It upsets me, but it upsets me for other people, because no matter where I go, I'm not going alone. I have the Lord with me, and I know that. Anyway, so yeah, just that in itself is a miracle. So in the MD Anderson visit, I end up seeing like a series of doctors, and they're trying to figure out if they're going to do a fine needle aspiration, biopsy, and all of these things. So they're doing different tests. One doctor says, there's absolutely no way, I don't know why they would even tell you that you have cancer. In the next room, I'll see someone that's like, are you telling me the doctor that was in the other room didn't see this? And I'm like, I'm just telling you what they said. And Callie's witnessing this whole thing, and we're going doctor to doctor, and they're like, I see it, I don't see it. And we know, like, Callie and I both know, just like the spirit's moving, like something weird is happening. The end diagnosis ends up being, absolutely, I don't have cancer. It's just some like swollen glands. So he and I were horse playing and basically like hurt my glands, and they were swollen. The end. Super simple solution. So yeah, they end up actually putting in all my information and doing a diagnostic and saying like I have like a 0.5% chance of ever having that type of cancer, and it will go up to like 5% or something when I'm 85 or something. So that was a huge relief. I walked out that day mystified, and I knew that the Lord had just like walked me through a fire, you know. So that was pretty cool. My next one, my doctor out of the blue calls me and says, a year ago that my white blood cell count was really high, and that now it's high again, and he needs to make me an appointment with an oncologist, a hematology oncologist. And I'm like, what? Like, why no warning? It scared me so much, but less than the two before. Every single one is less. But I was scared. It like ruined my day. I was scared. I'm like crying off and on. I'm sad. I am doing better than the breast cancer scare that I'd had a couple of years before. He makes the appointment. I'm still having the medical anxiety. When I go to that appointment, I'm crying. I had to have an MRI and a mammogram, and I'm crying through those, just crying through the tests, like crying through blood draws. Like, I still don't have the peace and the calm that I'm supposed to have. On the way to the appointment with the oncologist, we stop at this gas station, and I go into the bathroom of this gas station, and I'm still, I'm on the way to the appointment. I'm freaked out. I'm praying like crazy. And in the bathroom of this gas station, there's a sign, and it says that every good and perfect gift is from above. And I was just mystified. Like, first, I've never even seen a sign with that. Second, that it's in the bathroom of a gas station. I've definitely not seen that. So I'm just like mystified. There's this sign. I can't believe it. And the Lord really uses it to speak to me and, let me know, like, as he tells me that verse, like, he's bringing to mind the other verses associated with it in James, and brings to mind to me that it's a gift, that everything he gives me is a gift, that he's sovereignly in control of everything. Like, life and death are in his hands. Every single thing is his. Nothing is going to escape his plan, his sovereign design. Nothing is going to cut my time short here. nothing is going to snatch me from his hand, even my own like stupid self, or my weakness of faith, or my fears and all of these imperfections that I have. Even those are not going to separate me from him. That even if I go to this appointment today with this oncologist and find out that this time it is cancer, every good and perfect gift is from him, then it's a perfect gift. Then I need to figure out like what the gift is for. So we go that day, and she just, this is just this weird thing in my life keeps happening like over and over. She like looks in my mouth, looks at my gums, looks at like my legs, and she asks me like 2 or 3 diagnostic questions. She does a battery of like blood tests. But she just looks at me and she was like, you don't have cancer. She was like, no, nope. I'm like, okay. Well, that's awesome. So yeah, and then all the blood tests came back great. So yeah, didn't have cancer. That one. Walked away again. And, I'm walking away and I'm like, how many times am I going to walk away until there's a time that I'm not walking away? You know what I mean? You just like, it brings all those things to bear. You're like, this isn't, no matter what, even if I don't end up getting cancer, like life is not forever in the flesh on this earth. Life is forever and eternal in Jesus Christ alone. So, and I have that. So what am I worried about? And that it's still a good and perfect gift. So that, just seeing that sign, listening to that Elizabeth Elliot series, and then seeing that sign in that bathroom had this profound impact on me as like trials and sufferings came over the next couple of years. Just remembering the trial and remembering seeing the sign, it just had a huge impact on me, and I never forgot it. So then we come to this one, this scare. I didn't know that I had cancer, but the Lord was preparing me for something. Where the other ones caught me by surprise, this one didn't catch me by surprise. Of course, I was sick for like 2 months leading up to it, but I knew that I was like life-threatening sick. I knew that it was that bad, just based off of other illnesses and things I've had in the past. Aside from cancer scares, I knew that what was happening with my organs was something life-threatening. So, I didn't think, I thought, like, I did think that I had probably pancreatitis. I knew, I had started doing keto, and I knew from some things that I learned about the skin on your feet and your blood vessels on your feet and ankles and how they look and stuff. Mine have been that way for about a decade, and then I learned that they have to do with like liver failure and pancreas problems. And so I did just recently, before I started being that sick, found out that I had some symptoms of something like deeply wrong with my body, and I was trying to correct them. I had started trying to eat in a manner that would correct them and lose weight. And leading up to the diagnosis, I had lost like between 50 and 60 pounds over about 4 or 5 months. And I'd started riding my bicycle about 8 miles a day, 5 days a week. And so I was trying to take control, but in all these things, the Lord's preparing me, and He's talking to me, and just letting me know and preparing me even before I started getting sick. So I get sick, and I get the diagnosis. And when I got the diagnosis, like the first one where they told me that there was some kind of a like little like mass or something, I was like, oh no. And then you start like, I might have like cried for a moment, and then you start like, is this going to be the cancer one? Is this going to be the one that is the cancer? So it ended up being the one that was the cancer. And by the time I got to the place, again, I got diagnosed without any tests coming back. When I finally did get diagnosed, this wonderful, very skilled, I suppose he's a surgeon, but he's a gastro doctor, and he, I don't know if it's okay to like say their names. So he's, just like a premier person that does these kind of procedures that he does. And so he did a scan internally. They put me to sleep, and he went in through my mouth, and they did an ultrasound through my stomach at my pancreas. And so that day in recovery, when I woke up, he said it is cancer. So, I got diagnosed without any like test results coming back, but by a very skilled surgeon who's seen this many times and knows that it is. And when he told me, of course, like I'd just come out of anesthesia, so I'm kind of like dazed anyway. But when he told me, the Lord had really prepared me going into that procedure. This is one of the times I've tried to explain to people that the Lord, I've had times where I have literally felt him pull me and hide me underneath him. Like you would hide a scared child. And this was one of those times, and it's such like a sweet moment in the Lord. It doesn't make me cry because it's sad. It makes me cry because it's so like beautiful and so comforting. I was in that state. I went into that one without medical fear. Like, how could you fear when the Lord is holding you like that closely to him, that you physically feel him pull you to himself? I went in that one without fear. I went in that one praying for all of the people that I was talking to in the procedure rooms and stuff, and not even praying just that they would do a good job for me, just praying for them out of love of the Lord. And so yeah, it was a beautiful, different experience, he told me. And it wasn't even, I was sad. I don't mean to make it sound like I wasn't sad. Like, if someone tells you that you have pancreas cancer, you're going to be sad. Almost guaranteed. And, but sad at some of the other things. I was like, now I have to go tell my husband that I have cancer. Like, who wants to do that? You know what I mean? So, yeah, so I, got out of recovery, and I told Callie, that it was cancer, and we went and we had a wonderful meal. We just shared a beautiful lunch together, and we were a little bit sad, and we were also really happy, like we were rejoicing. So in that, then further tests and diagnosis and results came back and things like that. So funny story. So in one of my like Lucille Ball moments, I've already shared how this is so horrible. I've already shared how I've come out of anesthesia before, lying and saying that I have parrots and gloating and boasting in that and saying that I have parrots that I don't have. So this time I come out of anesthesia and I'm not lying and I'm not boasting in things that I don't have. Praise God. I'm really thankful for that. And, but this time I come out and I start messaging people good news and not making sense. And I'm like texting people and leaving voice messages that don't make any sense. Some of those people might like drop the things I said in the comments, but overall, I was telling people that like it went really great. Like it was good news and stuff. Some of the people, I wanted to call my sons in person and my mom and like tell them. I wanted to go tell my mom in person, but I wanted to like verbally like tell my sons either over the phone or in person, right? Depending on what the case was for like logistically. So anyway, but instead of that, I messaged my mom like it's good news, and she's just so happy. She's just rejoicing. She's like so happy. And I'm getting like, as I'm like more coherent, like an hour later on the drive home, I'm thinking I need to ask my mom if we can come over. Like I need to talk to her and tell her in person, because she's going to take it so hard. It's going to hurt her so much. And instead I send her this message that's like crazy. And that's like, oh, everything's great. Like it's wonderful. So my mom is just rejoicing. And I end up, instead of getting to go to her, I end up having to call her on the way home and be like, Mom, I'm so sorry. Like, it's not actually good. It's actually, I have pancreatic cancer. Like, it's not good. It's actually like the worst. And just like, oh, one of the worst things I've ever done. I had to like crush her over the phone. And I didn't want her to have like, our ride home is like a couple of hours, and I didn't want her to have like the couple of hours of like in this like confused, state where I've misled her because I'm under anesthesia and I'm all like crazy. And so that's like one of the most heartbreaking things like I've ever done. I didn't want to do that, and I didn't want to tell her that way, and I didn't want to like hurt her over the telephone. Like, so, but I did. That's one of my like Lucille Ball moments where I'm like, just do like the craziest thing. And in the other cases, it was really funny. It was really funny because I'd like told one of my sons the truth in a phone call. But I messaged his fiance in a text, the crazy, silly, good, happy news. So they just knew they were getting two things that didn't match. So that was pretty silly. In all of this, so like this brings me to like where I'm at now. We were Sunday after church this week, and after fellowshipping with like some of just my dearest friends. Like I said, they came to visit. They're my oldest friends on earth. I've had such a crazy life, and I have not kept friends, mostly because I've been a terrible person, but for some reason these people love me. I'm so blessed. Such a gift. I've known them since I was like 15 years old. And they have been through the ringer with me. So it's so beautiful. Our spirits were so high after they came to visit this week. It was just like such a refreshment and such like a beautiful thing and so hopeful. This is my friend that like survived cancer, and so hopeful. And so she's so like happy and unfazed. She's like absolutely believes the miracle that you can survive. Where I used to think like cancer was an automatic death sentence, and it's really weird because I got this like death sentence diagnosis of like one of the worst kinds of cancer. But I'm more hopeful than I have ever been, even when they like cancer scares were like less and more likelihood of survival. And so I'm happier. So in all of that, like that day after they left this past Lord's Day, we were just standing in the driveway with our sons rejoicing, and just talking about like how thankful I am to the Lord. I'm so thankful that I have this. I'm so thankful that He ordained every single thing that will come to pass over me and in me, and that His hand is on this and on me. And so here's what I'm most thankful for, that He loves me so much that He has set His love on me and promised to make me into the image of His Son. And through this suffering, I'm being conformed into the image of Christ because He set His love on me, because He loves His Son with a perfect love. And that is the love that He loves me with. He sees the righteousness of His Son and not my own filth and sin. I'm so grateful for that. But I'm so thankful because it's given me so much appreciation, and I'm not going out and going, well, I'm just thankful I get to touch the grass again, or I'm just thankful I get to, go for a walk one more time, or I'm not like counting off a bucket list or going, thankfully I got to do this like one more time. Like, I don't believe this life is it. Like, I don't believe this life is it, and I don't believe this life is the end. I believe this life is important, and it's a gift, and the people matter, and the moments matter, and the Lord's brought all these things to pass, and they are all good gifts. I'm so thankful. I have never felt the Lord pull me and press me against Himself and hide me and cover me and hide me. I have never literally seen that I am in a valley and that Jesus is literally walking next to me, and that this valley is death. But I have joy and I have peace that Jesus is right against me, and even in the face of my enemy, death, the last enemy that I will conquer, He's prepared a table for me. And He's with me. And I can physically see it. I have not seen it in such a real way until now. I have not felt such a strong knowing what the Spirit says to me. Like, such a strong, like, fired, lined up connection with God, where I'm like hearing His voice, and He's telling me clearly, like, do this, don't do that, in the decisions that I'm making for like our health and my life and things like that. This has just lit my walk with the Lord on fire. And so I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. It's incredible. It's an incredible blessing. And it has taken away fear. I still have some sadness. I have sadness that still, I keep saying this over and over, for my loved ones. I have a sadness for them. It hurts. So I'm more grateful. I'm more thankful. And I'm not just the thankful of, oh, thank you, Lord. I have another day on this earth. Oh, thank you, Lord, for being with me. The end. That's it. Another brother had asked me, when we have the Psalm sings at the Capitol, we go out and fellowship and eat afterwards. And we were eating at a barbecue place, and this brother asked me, do you hear the still small voice? And I, at the time, like, yes, I do. I didn't understand the question. I didn't know if he meant like that was the name of like a music group or something like that. And so I was like, and he's like, of the Lord, like audibly, do you hear the still small voice? And I was like, oh yes, actually, people don't ask me that, but yes, I do. And then it's exciting. Like you're talking to somebody else about things that the Lord does. Excuse me, I just hiccuped. Out of the blue, weird. So that was like a couple of months before the diagnosis. That was, I think, our most recent psalm sing before the diagnosis I got. And, man, how there's been an increase in that. And I've got to see the Lord doing, like, as people message me, tell me their prayers, sometimes it's just miraculous. Like on a day, 3 or 4 people will message me, they're praying and then tell me the same words. Or like Callie will pray over me and then people message me some of the same words, things that he prayed for. And that is an incredible moving of the Spirit. I'm so thankful to get to see these things. I'm so thankful to get to draw so close to the Lord in these things that are happening. So I'm very thankful that I have cancer. And I'm very thankful that the Lord has been so faithful to walk me through so many episodes of it and instruct me all the way. So he's been so good to me. And I hope that that will be an encouragement to people. If you're watching this, and I highly recommend go listen to the Elizabeth Elliot teaching. You find it on Ligonier, but if you just Google it, it should come up, of the Suffering is Not for Nothing. That has just been instrumental to me, and I know so many other people that it has been instrumental to as well. And then if you're a lady, just like all of her teachings are good, listen to those. So yeah, thank you. If you're somebody who's praying for me, thank you. Thank you so much. I can never thank you enough. And we'll only know in heaven, like, what those prayers have done and how he's moved, like, through those prayers. And then I want to show, like, my little crab pin. I got a little crab. That's a gift from the Lord. This is one of those things that only the Lord, my son, Damien, he sent me a picture like a little while back, maybe like a month ago, and he found this little crab like in a resale shop, and I was like, oh man, that's cute. I let it go, didn't think anything of it. I mean, he lives in another state, cute little crab. And we used to have a pet crab. So crabs are kind of special to me and Damien. We had a Halloween crab and he was super cute. So Damien and I both like love crabs a lot. And when they were little, I would do a thing and I would go, here come the crabs. And I would like tickle them and pinch them, which I've done with some of the grandbabies, like little squeezy pinches. So yeah, so crabs is just like special to me. And I often joke that I like feel like a crab. Like I feel like defense is up. So anyway, whatever. I like crabs. So it's just a sweet story. Try to make it fast. I know it's already a long video. So he shows me this crab. It's super cute. But then in the meantime, I, got some hats and I'm having like these scarves and stuff. So I put on my hat yesterday. I was like, man, I wish I had a hat pin, in my mind, silently. And I also think like a hat pin is something that's supposed to be like, it's supposed to be something like kind of sentimental, means something special to you, not like you just get on the internet and find yourself a hat pin, or maybe other people do, and I just feel weird about a hat pin. But in my mind, I was like, I wish I had a hat pin, but I don't. So yeah, maybe one day I'll run across that special thing. You know what I mean? Anyway, so only the Lord knows my thoughts, right? That day in the mail, yesterday in the mail, Callie opened it and hands me this little pouch, and here is my little crab my sweet son sent me, and I just burst into tears. A, it's such a sweet gift. B, only the Lord knew, like, how much I like the crab. You know what I mean? Like, it's just such a sweet thing when the Lord does that, when only we know, and that he, like, is so special to me that he let Damien be part of that with me, and share in that. So yeah, that's my crab. I'll be wearing my crab a lot. You'll be seeing my little crabby. So yeah. All right. Thank you.